if you are spending your lunch break with us, we've got some awesome content. Again, might be our and an awesome guest, which we'll introduce in 1 second. But which podcast is this? I forgot. 36, 35?
35. And yes, Eric, you were going to say that this is going to be our best podcast ever.
You're so excited.
We're going deep.
We're going deep.
We're going deep.
So typically we try to keep things at level 101 and 201 because, again, we don't want to scare people off. Again, to the right people, this is going to super attract and be super exciting. To someone that's maybe not ready or whatever else, it might detract for now, and we'll be here when you're ready. But
and the question is, ready for what?
Ready for being the best versions of themselves.
Who's not ready for that? Come on.
You're right. No. Just because we're gonna go deep. Even in the pre-talk, you guys said a bunch of things that I've never heard or know. So again, I just try to keep things level 101 and 201, but please go as 501, 601, 701, PhD, by all means. Masterclass. I like it. Okay, so with us today, we have Jenessee.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Sure. So how did you guys meet?
At Sunny Lake.
Yeah, Sunny Lake Park. Walked the circle and had the most amazing conversation about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, amazing conversation. Absolutely. We connected right away.
Yeah.
Nice. So much of our audience knows my background and Jeremy's background and the Zero Doubt Club umbrella. So part of our again, differentiation into the industry is the mind, body, and soul, right? It's not just about a workout. It's not just about what you eat. And usually those aren't the problems. The problem is not just the workout or getting to the gym or what people eat. It's the mind.
Yeah.
So how do you expand the mind? How do you work on yourself? How do you start shifting bad habits into good habits and things that make you healthier, happier, and feel like you're growing? So that's why this is so awesome and important. And Jeremy has shared his experiences with our clients, with our podcast audience, etc. And it's just so fascinating, and it's such a high level of consciousness. And so everyone's super intrigued, and we love it. So again, I just want to preface that anything goes. Please feel free to share and educate and intrigue everyone. So please give us your background.
Yeah, well, my name's Jenessee. I was born in Southern California and raised and grew up there for quite some time, worked there in the spa industry for a very long time, and met the proprietor of Walden out here in Ohio, and moved 2006 to run a destination wellness resort spa.
Which is gorgeous and amazing.
Fun.
I actually know, is it Rob?
Yeah,
Rob
Rosencrantz.
Yeah. Our kids played hockey.
Oh, beautiful.
What's up, Rob? I hope you're listening.
Oh, good.
He's a good guy. And he was a great coach for my kids when they were. So Rob brought you from sunny California to grayish Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, I always wanted to be on this side of of North America, so he was the opportunity. I came out and worked there for a good 12 years, and then in 2018 left. Again, I've been clairvoyant since I was a young girl, 5 years old. Which, are you familiar with the term clairvoyant? Somebody who does like psychic readings, right?
Okay, wow.
So intuitive. You could use another word.
My wife's definitely into that.
Oh, good, yeah.
She gets her cards read.
Oh, beautiful. We should meet. My whole life I've been living a very spiritual, deep dive reality, right? A reality most people don't tap into unless they experience something like plant medicine, what we'll be talking about today. And so my
meditation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Or tarot card readings.
or tarot card readings. Yeah, however you need to get it.
Right.
And so in 2018, I had been practicing and writing books for a very long time and teaching the whole metaphysical side of reality to people, coaching people through it. And in 2018, I was basically told by my higher guidance, like, shit or get off the pot, right? So I had to stop my physical paradigm reality of like protection, safety, and doing the rat race of, just clocking in, clocking out, and I had to go live fully my purpose, and then my entire world just exploded. So,
which is super fascinating and good for you for
Thank you.
chasing your call, chasing your calling, and having this purpose and going after it, and that's amazing. But let's rewind for a second. So you talk about what you did, and what felt mundane, I guess. What felt like it wasn't enough. What did you do on a daily basis?
Beautiful.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I ran a 20,000 square foot facility with, over 50 employees. So it was extremely rewarding. And I could have done that with my employees, and I joked I could have been buried in the backyard of Walden, right? A lot of us would say that because it's a beautiful facility, beautiful people, amazingly rewarding. So it wasn't anything about that. It was actually, so you want to get really deep, right?
Yeah.
I had been predicting and prophesizing the 2020 reality for a very long time. I didn't know it was going to be exactly that, but the earth would come in and talk to me and show me people in face masks, gas masks, and the world being sick and us needing to like physically change ourselves, right? And so I've got all my podcasts saying all that. Yeah, I've got it all documented. And so
it is a while.
But the journey to get there was crazy. So I mean, anyways. So in 2018, I was pulled out of the physical paradigm that was beginning to crash, so that I could start to help the people through my own experience, because I had to live it before I could teach it, right?
Okay.
That's always how it works. And so I had to get pulled out so that I could then plug back in and be fully present to lead these people as they were going to need me to lead them. So.
Okay, so if I can summarize, yeah. So running a spa felt like a job. Felt you were doing great things.
Amazing.
Because it's a top-notch spa, etc.
It could have been bottom-notch. The people, it's beautiful, right? When you have connections, yeah.
But it just still felt like a job. Still felt like you weren't fulfilling a full calling, you didn't maximize what you felt you can give people.
So in my understanding, it was the paradigm that I was plugged into. I was making god-awful amounts of money, right? And the whole money paradigm is shifting. To this day, it's still shifting. We're going to be unplugged, financially here very soon, between now and 2023, where just all structures are going to be crashing down. You already see this, right?
We do.
And so
we're hoping that it's not, but
yeah.
You heard your calling. You knew what you had to do. You just knew.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, and I had to fully put. I think sometimes we can phone it in, right? Where it's like, I'm going to protect myself with this physical security, right? And which still occupies 8 hours of 5 days a week, right? And I can still do everything I do, spiritually and psychically and consulting and all this for other people. But that's really living one toe in one reality and one toe in another reality. I had to fully become the absolute truth of my being to show up fully for the people I had to show up for. So that's why I was given the boot to get out of.
Did you have a handful or a few people already lined up, or was it just, okay, I'm done?
Well, I had since 2018. So I think since 2013, I had incorporated my personal business, and I had an app, a membership site. I was putting out content every single day, but it was still a hobby. I had written 4 books by the time I quit Walden. So, I mean, I was doing all of it, but it was, 2 paradigms and one person trying to live in both, and that wasn't authentic. So that was the big choice, to leave the one paradigm for what my true paradigm is, which is more.
I mean, I've been telling Eric for months now that, Eric, this is not the true reality.
Right.
We are these beings.
But you had
beings.
Okay, well, we're gonna get into.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna get into. I'm in. I'm on board.
Where's the pipe? We need to put the pipe in his face.
The similarity I was gonna drive was the you also played poker for 15 years and just felt
and that's why
that
Jennessee
wasn't
was
your
saying
calling.
plant medicine through me, it happened through meditation.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's a level up on your consciousness. It's your consciousness evolving. We've been evolving for millions of years.
Right. Get out of your own ego, get out of your own fears, get out of your own anxieties, etc., and have this. Again, what does increase levels of consciousness means is to be present, right? To understand who you are and what your calling is, and
less mind, more being.
And instead of anxiety about everything, appreciative of everything, and to be in that calm state, right?
Yeah.
So who doesn't want to do that, right? It just does. But it does feel like work. It does feel like whatever else. So having someone that can help us, Jennessee, help someone through that journey, it feels hard. But I always make the statement that living in fear and anxiety is way harder than taking those steps to becoming a healthier, calm, no anxiety, less fear, less ego human being. And I'm at the very, very beginning of my journey, which is amazing. But so you left to purely focus on what was your hobby and side job.
Mm-hmm.
So you already had a presence, you had content, you had, I'm sure, some sort of a supporters, a fan base, clients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So talk about a typical engagement, and what does that look like? Like what
do I do?
What do you?
That is the big question. What do I do? Well, I have a membership site, so it's called Chakras Root to Crown, and so we have thousands.
Slow that down, just to get it to the crowd. What?
Oh, chakras.
Root
to Crown.
To Crown.
Yeah.
TOCROWN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so on the membership site, there's courses and meditation libraries, there's tools, there's practices. I mean, everything you could possibly want. It's all through the eyes and the lens of chakra theory. That's how I was shown from a little girl all the way up until now. So I'm here. The only thing I can tell you I'm a master at is chakras, chakra theory and chakras. And that's how I interpret all of this non-physical, vibrational reality that we live in. That's how I interpret it for other people to understand.
So chakras is a level 301 term of firing on all cylinders, right? That's when all the chakras are in place for a human being, they feel like they're firing on all cylinders, correct?
Yeah, so it's we would consider it your astral anatomy, right? Since you guys were very focused on the physical anatomy, the chakras are the astral anatomy. So if your chakras are out of alignment, there's no way your physical body is going to be able to be in alignment. So to me, everything hits you first spiritually, and then mentally, and then emotionally, and then manifests physically. And so, if we're just addressing something at the physical level, the root problem, you could work on it for your entire life and never fix it. So you've got to hit every level and layer. Yeah.
Okay, so
soul training, baby.
Soul training.
Zero doubt club.
That's right.
Right, that's the point. Is
Yeah.
that when your chakras are in place, you have a lot less doubts. You have zero doubts. You don't worry about the little things. You're connected to.
Yeah.
the higher powers and yourself, where typically people with a lot of doubts are not connected at all spiritually or to themselves. And
well, I think nail on head, doubt, right? So I can tell you it's the easiest thing in the whole wide world to be completely in alignment and right now be the most enlightened version of yourself. It's through trust and love, right? Trust and love. That's all you have to have.
Trust, you mean like faith, right?
Faith, I think, can take it into, yes, I would say faith, right? But I think people hear the word faith, they might go into more of a religious context.
Right.
And so trust, meaning you are fully willing to be present and exposed or vulnerable in every single moment because you trust so deeply in yourself, your authenticity, who you are, that you don't need to contrive, control, or be here. You can be fully present and just trust that every single thing that happens is perfect and aligned to exactly what I'm supposed to experience. You can start living life like that and then greet everything with love. Full Buddhism enlightenment. Like, you're there. There's nothing else you need. And the physical body resets, emotional body resets, mental, and you're walking your spiritual path. But
and that's where a lot of people struggle. All of us struggle is good and bad. Oh, something bad happened to me. Well, did it?
Yeah.
If you trust, then it's not good or bad.
Yeah.
It's what's supposed to happen for you in order for you to learn, evolve, process, everything.
So it doesn't trigger you into the moment of having to be in it and imprint, or does that make sense to you?
Hit your physical body, stick in your physical body, and that's where like all disease happens.
Yeah.
Instead, just let it kind of go through you.
So we live in this super negative, toxic world.
I don't.
You don't.
I don't.
So that was my question. How do
Here's
you,
the thing, Eric? If that's the way that you look at the world, then that's how you're going to perceive it.
Your narrative.
Narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the world really that bad, or are people still loving each other and having good lives? Yes, plenty of people are.
Yeah, for sure. My point is, when there's war, when there's COVID, when there's financial ruin, when there's a lot of negativity in the world, how does one stay centered and calm and with trust and faith? How?
Living through so much shit, right? I mean, I've heard some of your stories. You guys don't know my stories, but I've written books on my stories of yes, and it's when you go through so much of that, and then you can start to again, not imprint or have to narrate or be that part of the story, and you can start to expand into this. There's reason why everything's happening around me, and if I don't align at the level of the negativity or the density of it, I can actually stay in a place where I feel balanced and centered, and I can let these things happen and not get sucked into it, and it doesn't affect who I am, and that brings so much joy and peace. I mean, again, I've been predicting the Russia war, right? Well, I saw Russia attacking itself, right, for a long time. And this is like the beginning of an end of things that are happening for us here as a humanity. And when it happened, I went, oh, there it is. That's the perfect, and I know this is probably like getting bad now, but it's like the perfect circumstance that brings us as a civilization to be able to see that we are still fighting the same battle of trying to, it's people trying to take your power away. And this is, again, another struggle where this part of our unity consciousness is learning what it means to not allow their sovereignty to be taken away, right? So we all go through this in different ways. When we went through our wars, or when other, it's who and what are we learning in that time, and where are you putting your power, and what's the greater lesson? And if you can understand that everything has to happen at this way, so people can start to rise above what they're fighting, right? Whatever it is, if it's poverty, if it's, war, if it's, whatever. Everything. Any aspect.
I mean, those seem to be the worst, but the daily
evolution.
Right.
This is what we're always in. So if you accept that, the world's awesome then, because we're always evolving.
Right. So I'm intrigued. One of the most impactful things as a kid that still just is just boggles my mind was when I watched the movie regarding Nostradamus.
Oh.
And how he foresaw.
Yeah.
So is that how you feel? Like that you have these visions of because I believe in it. I mean, it was as accurate as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't do it. But how explain that further?
Yeah.
Like how you have these feelings or visions
I might be painting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I might be painting myself wrong here. I wouldn't consider myself somebody who like goes in and reads timelines to predict futures. But for me specifically, part of my destiny and purpose has been to be here during this time for this evolution of humanity, because we're focused on a transition from a physical paradigm to an emotional paradigm. And this is everything my soul has brought in to assist people with this paradigm shift, right? And so because of that, what I tap into very specifically are these pivotal earth changes that are indicators that we're moving towards this paradigm shift. So for me, like Nostradamus, right? Like was predicting all of these crazy things, amazing things, right?
Dying,
yeah. Like that dude was tapped into a crystal ball for future prophecy, right? Mine is very specific to a series of events that lets me understand where we are within the paradigm shift for how I'm working with people specifically. Mm-hmm. So how do I receive it? Honestly, it'll be usually during lucid waking phases, because I don't go, it looks like meditation when I read people, because I do clairvoyant readings for people, and I just sit and close my eyes and will audio record a story for them. But so that's very different. It just looks like meditation. And that is meditation. People just don't realize how psychic they are in meditation. Mm-hmm. But typically when I'm doing a prophetic work, I'm waking up in the morning or going to sleep at night, and it's that like lucid, that yummy phase, like right before, and you start doing those like idiosyncratic movements with your fingers and your body starts shaking. And then it'll be, I hear the voice of something come in and it'll start showing me images and then narrating kind of what I'm seeing, right? And I can kind of communicate back and forth with it. But that's been, far and few between.
Right.
Maybe only like 4 big notable things.
Got it.
Boom.
Plant medicine will do that for you.
Yeah. Plant medicine accelerates, right? Because you can do a lot of work on journaling and meditation and whatever else. It takes a long time, but the plant medicine and what Jeremy has reported back to us, and we need to talk about that too.
Do you want me to top that?
No, I've got the perfect transition to get to it. Right?
So that was like 10:01.
I know. It was so much and so fast, and I'm trying to really understand it. So I'm a client of yours.
Okay.
I probably found you online. I'm probably searching for something.
Google ads are working.
Google ads are working. Okay, fine. Google ads. So hold on. So you're what are the keywords?
Chakras.
Chakras.
Trying to monopolize the chakra.
Nice.
Got it. What else? What if I'm not searching chakra?
Okay, so you want to know the top 3?
What if I don't even know? What if I don't know to search chakra?
Well, the Google search results, how you get that for your business, right?
Yeah.
So my top 3 pages always on my blog are 11th dimension. I know, right? 11th dimension, 12th dimension, and then wolf energy.
Whoa, wow.
I've captured the market.
So that's like a specific, they already know what they're looking for.
Right. So what if somebody's 101? What if somebody doesn't even know to search 11th or 12th or wolf energy or chakras? What if I'm just, in the rat race, feel financially
Zero doubt clubber.
I know we're part of the solution, but so is Jennessee. Yeah. So I'm a person that wants spirituality. Yeah. I want calmness in my life. I want happiness. I feel like I'm stuck in this rat race. daily stresses, etc.
Yeah.
I want to get out of it. What am I searching on Google?
Honestly, I mean, you were talking about your story today about seeing numerology, and I find it interesting. I always used to tell people in the very beginning of when I started this, it's like spiritual Google. Whenever you are seeking and don't know and need an answer, I would go in and just type every feeling word into that Google bar, and the answer would be there when I was spiritually seeking, right? And it's like, how does this work, right? It's like, how does this know? And today you were saying you came in and you were getting the 11:11 on the clock and the 11:33.
11:33. And both times I was driving here thinking about the podcast and how grateful I am for my experiences. And as I'm getting emotional, 11:11. Then again, something goes through my mind, 11:33.
Yeah. And so synchronicity.
But here's the thing. The thing. Before all this, as I'm dropping Nathan off at school, I'm reading an article about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
but it is 11:11 and 11:33 twice a day.
It is, but to catch it at that
I know.
I'm
just kidding.
So
I'm just playing the doubter.
As you're having like a powerful thought, an emotional thought, something that you really know is different than the other 95% of the thoughts that we have all day, right?
Right.
No. You're looking at the clock and it's 11:11.
Yeah. So I trust, to answer your question, right? So if somebody's just starting seeking, they're not finding me. Like I'm so deep dive Kool-Aid. Like people, they find me there like way down, and
they're already at 301 or 501, right?
Right.
You don't get
only 9. So I mean.
No. It's important for me to understand because I just want to. Well, so a typical person is already they're already on the journey. And they're looking for you, who has this super PhD in this. But you're on the path.
I was on 303, right?
Yeah,
exactly. You got to start, and then eventually you're led anyways where you need to be led to.
So this is something energetically I know and I trust because I've been doing energy work for so long. You will always get what you need, and this is back to trusting in the perfection of the universe. Sometimes what you think a bad situation is leads you exactly to the right person you needed to meet, or whatever it is. When you see that 11:11 on the radio and you were thinking about a friend, it's like, whoa, what's that mean? And then you look it up, and 11:11 is, to me, it's a gateway, but I know it's also an angelic code for support and everything's on the right path. And so, when you look these things up, or when you're in that mindset, the very beginning of this is just starting to become conscious and aware that everything has meaning. And when you can start to live your life in that energy, then you're ready to start receiving the messages. And then naturally things just start connecting. You get connected to the right people. You find, that one person who has the answer for you that day. And it's just magic. It starts unfolding for you and you don't have to force it.
I am now a believer. I got to tell you that, 20 plus years of non-believing, right? Living in the toxic world, living in a high stress environment that of course I created for myself, but just believed in coincidences, not in the universe is going to give me what I'm giving it, and I'm definitely now on that track. So I appreciate Jeremy. I appreciate this podcast, and that's, I guess, where I fall back to 101. So I'm sorry. I know you guys want to talk to 301 and 501 stuff, but my 101 was finding where things didn't fit, like religion and faith and whatever, instead of looking for how things fit and why.
I could talk for an hour about that, but that's the exact right path. You have to start to separate yourself from things. It's like called the original separation, right?
Okay.
Like just if you go to biblical Adam and Eve, right? Separating from the Garden of Eden, right? To seek the wisdom, right? And so it's this whole reconciliation back. That's how you start the journey. You have to start separating yourself from what's been programmed and conditioned through you to you as this illusion. And then once you cut all that, then you start working yourself back to truth. And it's everybody's truth is unique to their own soul experience. And that's the beauty of it.
And then with my experience, when I started cutting all the past away, that's when the synchronicity kicked in. And then it was way easier to start trusting. Because it's right there. You're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man,
You become more present, more aware.
Anytime I'm just like, Jeremy, he's like, man, just trust the process.
Just trust.
Just trust. And it does, it calms me down. And of course, you know, we're super grateful and super blessed for where we're at business-wise. And anytime I even start going down that road of my old stress, gotta be now, gotta be big, gotta be blah, 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 it helps bring me back to this new
One day at a time. It's always one day at a time.
and having this strong faith that just we're doing things right, things are happening for a reason, things are happening not too much, not too little, low stress. It's perfect.
Perfect.
And just my old self would always put myself, companies, people just in high stress situations. Anyway, it's awesome. Okay, so your typical client has already started the journey, and they're looking to go to a higher level of consciousness. They're looking at more of it, right? They're looking to maybe accelerate it. See the segue into plant medicine?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So I'm level 301, or Jeremy was level 303 or 301. 303.
Eric loves numbers.
I love it.
Jeremy was
what percentage of statistics are
Right,
made up?
I love that. Yeah.
86.6. So Jeremy was level 1133.
Got it.
When he came to when he found you. How do you engage with let's say Jeremy as a client? What's next? What's the path?
Yeah. Oh, what's the path? So what's that question? What answer are we looking for within that question? You want to know like what happened when?
How do your clients engage with you or hire you, and then what does it look like
for plant medicine specifically?
Well, I'm thinking plant medicine is part of it.
Oh, okay. Well,
but that you do other things.
Yeah, the tons of other things.
Right.
Well, here this is a good segue, right? So. For years and years and years and years, I've have books, right? I have like 4, maybe 6, I don't even know, books, like legit books. I have workbooks that are 400 pages, right? On the multidimensional chakra system. Like I've got all of this stuff. I've got thousands of hours of courses. Unfortunately for me, that's old paradigm. Like, we've changed in a beautiful way, but unfortunate to the me that put in so much time and effort into all the old stuff.
But you wouldn't have gotten there.
True. It had to happen. It's all perfect. Thank you. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. And so our collective has shifted. People are digesting like they call it the album now, right? A course, nobody wants to sit down and read a full book or do a course that has hour-long things. They want an album, 5, 10, 5-minute things that they feel empowered or whatnot. We're in this mentality now where it's got to be quick, it's got to be to the point, and that it has to change me or I'm not.
Give me top 5 ways to change by tomorrow, right?
So this is the
top 5.
And so
I know what number 1 is.
1133. So when this shifted, my calling also shifted, and I was called to start working with people with plant medicine because they were no longer willing to sit for 5 years and do the self-actualizing work that it takes to go in, know yourself at the core, release anything that's not serving the highest, greatest good, and become the truth of their soul, their destiny, what they're meant to be. And so they needed that lightning bolt to the head or to the stomach if you're doing ayahuasca. And within one plant ceremony experience, you are being given the gift of your entire, what I call your divine blueprint, which is exactly who you are, and what you're here for. And you go in and you access that in Tepezcuite, 15 minutes, with ayahuasca, 6 to 8 hours, with Bufo, 15 to 30 minutes. So, and we are living within the emotional paradigm right now. This is the big, great shift that happened during 2020. And in the emotional paradigm, the plant is the king, the plant is the master teacher. And that's now why you're seeing people who have never even thought about ayahuasca or this plant consciousness are hearing about it.
Right.
And that just shows you the
They're
power of
watching it
where
right
we
now.
are.
why can you answer the question of why people feel it's drugs versus medicine? Like it's very medicinal, and it, but it alters the mind, right?
Yeah.
And helps rewire the mind and
Well, to remove that illusion, you know, drugs have an addictive quality where plant medicine, you know,
Yeah, I'm not trying to drink no ayahuasca right now. No.
You know, there's a calling, and you know, this is something too. You know, I live in a world of non-duality, or I try my hardest, and so a lot of what Divine has been teaching me personally at this level is there is no difference between drug addicts and people who are partaking in plant medicine. We have to remove the illusion of that right there, because that's creating, you know, just judgment and
Bad separation.
it's a horrible duality that's being created. You know, why I seek a plant medicine ceremony to become more authentic or to know my divine purpose more fully is in essence the same reason why somebody is seeking, you know, another, you know, heroin, whatever, you know, to let go and release at a level that they feel bliss and they feel like they're seen or felt, right? So,
right.
you know, we have to remove that systemic kind of like labeling or whatever that energy is around it, number one. But we know that when somebody's ready, they're called to explore this medicine. And that's something you find a lot, you know, people do. I think there's a beautiful gateway or barrier where, you know, because of the drug label, it does put a really beautiful kind of gatekeeper on this, to where if you're not ready for it, you know, you won't just go give it a try, right? Because it does blow open your entire essence. And if you're not ready for that, it can be very confusing if you don't have support or the materials or tools.
And I love when Jeremy says, yeah, I'm like, so what are you looking to seek out of it? He's like, whatever it's going to give me.
Yeah.
And it's so basic.
Yeah.
Which is really neat, right? Because sometimes you don't even know what it's going to give you. But you know, I'm definitely intrigued. At some point I'm gonna go. But
when you hear the call?
When you hear the calling, I hear it. It's just a faint distance.
Well, what we would say is it's in your field. Like the fact that you're sitting here doing this, it's already in your field.
Yeah, it's getting closer.
What's the matrix when you get the blue pill and the red pill? And it's like the illusion is that you have a choice. You've already made the choice.
Right.
If you've already done this,
right.
You're just right now separating yourself as long as you can from it before you have the experience.
Right.
It's already happened.
It's already happened. It's already happened. Okay, so you quickly ran over the different type of ayahuasca and tepes.
The DMTs.
The DMTs.
Yeah.
So let's again, I fall back to 101. So
sure.
What are the differences? So ayahuasca is a multi-day, it's a retreat. It's a whole weekend.
No, they can all be all weekends. It's just ayahuasca bypasses the liver, so it's a slower process, number one, but it stays in you longer because of that.
Okay.
Ultimately, they all do the same thing. They block the filter so you can see what true reality is.
Right. Let's quickly segue into you just went on your second trip.
Yes, totally different than my first, but I did.
Totally different than your first. Jennessee, so if you don't mind, we'll talk about
I would love. Yes, I've been waiting.
So my question to Jeremy on the pre-second trip podcast, because we did a pre first trip and a post first trip podcast, and we did a pre-trip where I asked Jeremy, like, what are your expectations? And he goes, no expectations, and I'm going to get what I need. So now this is the and to me that was the most powerful summary, I guess, of the pre. And again,
let's recap. Why go a second time?
Okay, so before I went, I did a couple ceremonies with Tepes.
Okay.
And that was totally life-changing. It was different than my first ayahuasca trip where, and I'll recap that really fast, where she just showed me what our true essence is, that we're one with all. Like, I was above earth, I was seeing everything as unity, and just felt what love feels like, right?
Real,
like
clean.
Love, like the purest energy love. Like, my purification with my purging of that was me get in love and just like almost like giggling and laughing, and I couldn't control myself. It was almost like hurting because I was like, holy shit, this is it. This is what it means.
Right.
That was the first time. The second time was totally different. She's like, okay, I've shown you what it is, who you are, what your true essence is, but now you got to do the work. But before going to, and let me just jump back to, I did a couple ceremonies with Tepes, and if you could just imagine seeing your birth, death cycle in like a film, actually you're in it. That's what it does. And there's a release at the end. Something shot out of me like 3-4 times because you smoke it. It lasts for about 15 minutes. And the only thing I can describe is it's definitely something that I didn't need in my body or in my mind. The rewiring that you talk about, probably that happened. I felt great after, felt amazing, lighter. I mean, my whole physical body has changed since doing Tepes. Just calmer, more present. So going to ayahuasca, I wanted more of that kind of purification, actually. That was deep down kind of my intent, but I was scared to say it because,
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted more of that release because every time I had that release with Tepes, like, it was good. It was somewhat a little bit scary and painful, but at the same time, you understand that this is your true essence. Like, this is what you are. And when I go to do ayahuasca, I do 2 tablespoons the first night, and there wasn't much happening. The only thing that was happening was I was going back to my Tepes experience, and it was like faintly in the background. I was seeing what I was experiencing on Tepes, but it was very faint and it was in slower motion.
Mm-hmm.
On Tepes, everything happens fast. Right. It's like your death birth within 10 minutes. You know what you are, and you can't explain it. There's no words. Words can't explain what it is, but you know that's what you are.
Right.
I don't know if it's your inner consciousness. That's literally like you are now, your consciousness. So I saw that in the faint background. That was it. Second ceremony. Well, I shouldn't say that was it. I was going into people's bodies as they were purging. I would feel their pain, and I would be thanking them for it. So it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And much of that on the second ceremony. So I was actually a little bit disappointed going into the third. I was like, I'm going to go back and do Tepes. But it was all a build-up. This is how smart the plant medicine is. It's got a consciousness and intelligence of its own. Because the first 2 ceremonies prepared me for the third. So I did 2, 2, and 2.
Okay.
After about an hour, I started feeling like I needed to purge, but I couldn't purge. I was starting to get really sick. And I pop up on my knees. And usually when I'm on ayahuasca, I'm just laying down. All of a sudden, I pop up on my knees, and I'm like this. My arms are out, and I'm vibrating, like intensely inside, and I feel like I'm about to die. Kind of like you do on the tail end of Tepes, and then you have that release. So I accepted it. I surrendered to the like, okay, let's just do it.
Take me.
Yeah. and I'm like this. I've never been in this position, and I was in it for like a good maybe like 5 to 7 minutes, like vibrating. And then all of a sudden, something shot out of my body, and I go head down on my pillows, and I'm just like, start breathing, and have a good release, start feeling better, and then all of a sudden, I connect with Tony, my wife who passed away.
Right.
On April 3rd will be 1 year. This April 3rd.
Right.
And we have a conversation. It's deep. She's there. It's not visual, but I know it's above like visual.
If it's not visual, who is she not sitting in front of you?
It's not about sitting anywhere. It's about being in the frequency. She's in my frequency. And we're having a conversation, and the conversation is all about it had to happen. Her death had to happen. She died because of cancer. Cancer is created with the separation between our soul and our physical bodies. Chakras, like you're talking about.
Right.
And the message is just like, it's good. Like, this is for healing. Her death had to happen for healing of others or whoever.
Right.
And it was great. It was a beautiful conversation. And then we talked about Nathan, and we talked about how I need to watch how he's eating. And then when I came back, that's changed.
Right.
So that was profound and awesome. I talked to my dad as well. And we talked about how like everything is karma. Everything is passed down from generation to generation. And our purpose here is to release this. Jenessee talks about how we're going into a shift of this new awakening in consciousness. This is for our karma to be released. So, yeah. And then as both of them leave, I had this profound feeling of being outside of the universe. It's hard to explain, but I felt it, and I'm like, the universe is actually small.
But hold on, the universe is infinite.
How could you be outside of the universe is infinite?
What?
Everything is infinite, yes.
Yes. So how can you be outside of something that's
because
infinite?
The universe is just a manifestation. It's just a physical manifestation, but we're beyond that.
Okay. All right.
Like, if you actually think about form, like all of this, it still has 99.9% space in between everything. Like this mic, our bodies, it's all space, 99.9%.
Right.
So what is that space?
What is that space? Air.
It's not air. What about in space? Air is molecules. The air is 99.9% space. So I felt that, and that space, that basically, okay, why? So you feel that great. Well, then when you're out of your psychedelic journey and you go back into the real world, you remember it's in you. It's a part of you. You've experienced it, so your body opens up. You just feel better. You have more space. You're less tense with just this physical reality and thinking that's what you are or that's what it's about and this one life or you have 20 years to live. And that creates all this tension inside that the mind is actually creating. But if you go outside of the mind, psychedelic shows you that this is what you are. You're outside of your mind.
Right. What's next?
I got a training at 1:30.
What's next in the journey? Again, I'm a math
on the
guy,
psychedelic
right? So, okay,
journey,
now you're at 401.
Yeah, on the psychedelic journey or just in general. I mean, my journey is to live my best self every day, to help others and do that. And then we're going to keep doing that one day at a time. I'm going to continue to explore plant medicine because it's helped me every time. I'm going to Tulum in September to do Tepez with Jennessee. So that's probably the next psychedelic plant medicine journey. Got it.
And I know you're going to tell me whatever it gives me, but what's the hope? What's next for you in your journey to a higher level of consciousness?
Honestly, I believe every single day we evolve our consciousness. So one day at a time.
Yeah, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Wake up tomorrow, do what I do, meditate, work out, drink water, talk to people. Remember that at the end of the day, this really is just kind of a game. It is a game. And I got that from my first ayahuasca journey, that, I mean, I was like, here's God, here's me, and we're like, this is a game. You're gonna play it out so I can understand what I am, and so on. And we're playing tennis. And I'm just laughing inside of how simple this all is, and we take everything so serious. And the thing is, even after plant medicine, I still have to check myself sometimes. So it's work. It's every day. It's one day at a time, understanding that we're infinite.
Jenessee, your turn.
What
Talk
question
about
again?
the journey.
The journey. Like, where do I go next?
Well, talk about your plant medicine journey. What?
He's got a client at 1:30, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
Told you, this is our best podcast. Eric doesn't want to quit the podcast.
I'm intrigued.
Well, I find it interesting, right? Your second ayahuasca was very similar to my first ayahuasca. You know, in hindsight, I think I can't be held accountable for timelines. Maybe 2013 is when I first did ayahuasca in Peru, and it was a 5-day, you know, and you did ceremony 4 out of those 5 days, which is a lot. And this is 8-hour ayahuasca at minimum. You know, I think it
can be 4 to 8.
4 to 8, okay.
Yeah.
And so the very first ayahuasca session I had, and I'm a very small person, and so they microdosed me, right? So it's like they were giving most people shot glasses of this, and I got like 1/4 of it, right?
Right.
And so one of the key things with ayahuasca, because it goes down into your digestive system, is you end up purging a lot, right?
Right.
And so we had maybe 20-ish people in our maloka, which is the big ceremony space, right? Thatched kind of roof with wooden floors, beautiful, open air. And everybody lays in a circle, and within, you know, the first 20 minutes, the first round of purging starts, and it becomes this choir that happens like every 30 minutes, and on cue, everybody starts purging, and it's just this crazy, right? And it's like, I don't even make the sounds, right? But so as everybody starts purging, so my entire experience for 8 hours, and I can only tell you this now in hindsight, but this was my first preparation in being a medicine woman or administering plant medicine for people, was what you experienced, what I experienced, which is I had to live in the purge of everybody else. So a shaman is somebody who actually will purge for somebody else, right? So if I administer medicine for you, if you are not ready to purge through your body, I will purge for you, right? I will do the work you cannot do. That's a shaman, right?
Wow.
And so in this first ceremony, 5 minutes before everybody would start collectively throwing up, my body would be picked up off because we're laying down, so I'd be shot up like this, and then all of a sudden for like 15 minutes, my body would go and I'd just start shaking, and out of my mouth, I'm just like and it was like I was being possessed, right? Like absolutely possessed. And this for 8 hours, every you know, however often the purging happened, and to be shaken like this and feeling their purges come out of me. And then as soon as they stopped purging, my body would be exhausted, and I'd lay down and I'd just be drained. And then 5 minutes before they started, it just happened again. I had no control over my body. My intention was to lose control, to release control, right? I wanted to go to the deepest level of just releasing control was my ayahuasca intention. Don't make that intention. And so at the end of that night, and the next day when we were processing as a group, I was like, I can't do that again. I can't. My physical body will break. I had so much pain. I was I think I was like 102 pounds going into it. I came out of that retreat like 95 pounds.
Right.
Like I was just, it was the most draining thing. But now looking back, it was my first induction in being able to purge for somebody else and release enough of my identity, myself, my control to be every other person, right? Because that's the only way you can do that type of work. And so like after that, you know, then it's 2013 and I didn't start till 2018, you know, with doing plant medicine for people. But it took me into a whole unfolding. So it took a long time, but where my readings, when I read people, I lose myself completely and I read because I become them, right? So I can only read you because I am you. So it was releasing this level of identity that we have that boxes us in. Right? So yeah, so now it was a master teaching on I am you, you are me, and there's no separation. And so when I close my eyes, I become you, I live your life, and I can see what you are, and I can relate.
Guide.
Yeah, and so it's so that was my first.
Good stuff. Okay. Why not go?
Why not? Sign up tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
I
ayahuasca,
can read you because I am you.
Yeah.
Just whoa.
Ayahuasca is deep medicine, right? It's not necessary anymore. You know, if you've got physical trauma, if you've got psychosis, if you've got major medical stuff going on, ayahuasca is still the master teacher, I think, for people to be able to purge and heal their physical body. Where I do believe, you know, like a tepezguite, which is, it's so much more in honor of the human body and the human experience, where you don't have to go through the so much of our consciousness, meaning the collective, has already purged a lot of this physical paradigm that, you know, new people coming into plant medicine don't necessarily have to start at ayahuasca anymore. It is a very deep medicine, unless you've got cancer, psychosis, you know, all of these alcoholism, you know, whatever these things are, right, that you need to purge out of your physical selves, right? Where tepezguite or bufo, although bufo is the toad medicine, right? So it's not plant medicine, it's toad medicine. It's very cosmic, so it's very, it's out of body, so it's very hard to understand sometimes. But those medicines are quicker, they're more gentle because they go into the brain instead of the stomach.
Quicker is 15 minutes,
well,
20
so
minutes.
it's interesting because it's still, when you're there, no time, no space, right? But
it feels not like 15. It feels way
Oh,
longer.
it
Way
feels,
longer.
yeah,
Okay, got
feels like you're
It's
in
a
for
birth death. Like literally, when I told you I went through like a birth death cycle. I'm
Well,
not joking.
when you say that, I feel like your life flashes before your eyes, like it's seconds. But
on the non-physical projector, though, that's what I got.
So there's no time in this space, right? So yes, what you're saying is right, and how he's communicating it is right? When we look at it, it's a 5 to 10 minute process, but him inside of it is witnessing and feeling into every moment, because there's no such thing as time in that space, right?
wow.
And so, is that a correct assessment?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so these tepezguite and bufo, you know, it's a shorter time, which allows, I think, our human mentality right now, which does like to have control and really has a hard time thinking about 6 to 8 hours where they're completely out of control of their body, and whatever Aya wants from you, she's going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
Where 15 minutes, like, well, I can do anything for 15 minutes, you know? And it's
right.
like, if I go to the depths of hell, I can do that for 15 minutes. Or if I'm going to the bliss state of the highest consciousness, hey, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, so that, I think it's easier on the human that has to surrender, because this medicine, it will put you, it will initiate you. There are multiple initiations where if you're not willing to be vulnerable or surrender to the medicine, which a lot of times could be throwing up, it could be like farting or feeling like you have to pee on yourself, right? Or like do something weird. Like sometimes you have to like scream or make a sound, and people are just so conditioned to be so very, you know, controlling of their environment and who they are. And so there's these gateways that you have to kind of go through, and their initiations. And if you pass those tests, for me, I couldn't breathe. Like when I did bufo the first time, toad medicine, I went in and I'm like, I'm not breathing. I'm not breathing. I'm not breathing. And it was like, I came right back out, and then I looked at my friend. I'm like, if I stop breathing, come do CPR, because I'm going to go again and I'm going to not breathe. And so that was my gateway. It's like, and so I went in the whole time I was not breathing. For 15 minutes, I was not breathing myself, but apparently I looked healthy to the two people that were sitting for me. So, but so there's really interesting things that you have to, tests that you have to kind of go through to show that you're willing to access this level of your truth.
So you said something at the beginning saying, that you feel like you're in the right time of existence, that you're here on a calling because of some of what's going on in the world, but also you said that we're going from the physical state to a mental state, emotional state.
Yeah.
And just in general, like ayahuasca and plant medicines is such a high topic in society these days. Is this what you're talking about too? Is that the civilization? Well, I shouldn't say that because ayahuasca is hundreds of years old, or ancient as well. But I mean, every Ivy League school has a department on plant medicine now, right? Doing research, and Johns Hopkins and Harvard. Joe Rogan talks about it every other podcast, #1 podcast in the world. Is this what you're talking about? But is that what's next for you? Is to help more people build your business and helping people do this, or?
It's definitely where I am right now. I've let go of any need to know or control where I'm going. I just show up for however I'm being called. And so right now, how I'm being called is all plant medicine, and it's being supported. So too, there's times when you think you're being called somewhere, and it's like, crap, nobody's showing up there, but you needed to learn it or create it for whatever the next step was.
So your calling is plant medicine, but there's a lot around the actual ceremony, right? There's the prep, there's the I guess analyzation of someone's life journey and what they need and seek and so on, and the integration afterwards, right? Like how do they integrate that experience into their daily life? So there's a lot around it. It's not just here's the plant medicine and go home. There's a lot to it. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You want to talk to that?
Well, yeah. So again, there's the plant diet. I'm sure you've probably talked about this here. You do need to get in the right mind and the right physical space, right? And again, playing in duality, I believe there's physical and non-physical reasons for all things. So I'm not going to talk too deep about that, but there's reasons. Part two. Yeah, there's reasons why we have to do prep for ourselves to get there, but a lot of it's, again, just getting rid of your patterns as a human, right? When you start letting go of patterns, there's less work you have to do inside the medicine. So good prep is really required. And then once you sit with the medicine, the beautiful thing from my perspective, again, being somebody who reads people daily, I, as a facilitator, I don't have to do that for somebody. They're doing all the work, which is so cool. I just take whatever they can't do, right? So if you're not willing to purge, if you're not willing to move your body, if you're not willing to scream, because all of those things are gateways so you can go deeper in the visual clairvoyant journey of witnessing and experiencing and getting all the wisdom and the information. So I work as you, side by side with you as the person sitting, right? So in that you're getting all the information, right? And we're working as a team to get it. Then as you come out of it, you process, which is one of the most beautiful things to me, is just being able to sit with each other afterwards and talk about what the experience was, feel into it again, and just be and live in that together, which is just so phenomenal. To have somebody witness you and you witness them in that space, right? After they just tapped into their divinity, and then have somebody be able to see that in them, right? It just anchors it. It's so beautiful.
Because you can see the change. You can feel the change.
You can feel it. You can see it. It's remarkable. And then after that, I mean, there are some things with DMT, it's like a 3 to 6 month unfolding that happens after. When you come back, it's now live your life, because when you start to live your life, right, what feels wrong or what, you know, becomes a negative or doesn't feel right anymore is naturally going to fall away, or you're going to get ingrained in those patterns again and start blocking yourself. But now you're more conscious, now you know it, and so you're consciously kind of choosing to go back into old patterns, and you experience it doesn't feel good. But then again, you know, I have you know, a membership and all these tools for people if they need help afterwards, just like you guys do with your business here too. You know, you support people on every level and layer that they're ready to work with you at. So
Exactly.
food, you know, is so important, or if it's the mental game, you know, so physical coaching, it's all of it.
It's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's an everyday, all day thing.
Yeah.
And again, it's making the decision first that you want to work on yourself and want to have this peace and love.
Yeah.
Right?
The funniest thing I've been hearing lately for people who are entertaining plant medicine, I shouldn't say funny, that's bad. The most interesting thing that's consistent right now is people say, I'm not there, I'm not prepared yet, I'm not ready yet, right? And it's like, you're never going to be ready for plant medicine.
Right.
If that's your mentality, that's the biggest excuse that you don't know you're telling yourself, right? You will never be ready for plant medicine. If it's been in your field, which means if you've seen the documentary, people now are talking about it around you, you hear it, that means the plant medicine is in your field. It means it's coming, whether you like it or not, right?
So
you're
this
ready.
might be a really naive...
That's amazing that you say that, because, you know, my whole higher awakening consciousness level happened through meditation, and I didn't do any plant medicine. And then I had dinner with a friend, and he brought up plant medicine for the first time, ayahuasca, mushrooms, this and that. And I was like, no. I think I booked a trip like 3-4 months later.
Sure.
Yeah.
It came in my field, and I just, boom, I knew, like, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
So is there, and again, this might be a super naive question, the difference between a dream that you remember vividly and a plant medicine vision or experience?
Yeah, so let me go first on that one. A dream, you know it's a dream. Plant medicine is like an experience of you. So a dream, it's like you're the consciousness that's making the dream. And on plant medicine, you are it. Like, you see your existence and you feel it deep down inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel it deep down inside.
To talk in like super deep metaphysical talk, like a dream is almost like remote viewing. It's a way that you're observing, right? And then as we can raise our frequency higher or elevate our consciousness, and you can do that through meditation, transcendental meditation, breath work, or plant medicine, then you can start to have full embodied experiences as the reality that you're in. I think dream time works with a lot of the same things that we're working with as far as energy patterns that we're observing. But depending on what you're perceiving from, it could be, focused around day. You have lucid dreams where you're going to experience your soul's leaving your body during dream space. So there's a lot there, but it's just the different planes you're observing it from. So dream space is a plane down here where the other breath work and meditation and plant medicine.
And would you also
it's
say
almost like different forms too? Like in a dream, like things are still like this, right? They just move differently. On plant medicine, you're having a journey of like something you've never experienced before, but deep down inside it's real.
So could we also say that a dream is maybe just mind and you're creating it, versus plant medicine is mind, body, soul? And
I think a dream is as powerful. It's all consciousness, right?
It's all consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Half the time you're like, where did that come from? Yeah. Okay, so I think what we did today was put many, many, many people in the field.
Perfect.
And I think my field got smaller and closer. But no, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Now I know why some other people's podcasts that talk about this go for 2 hours. And I think we could talk about it all day. One more time, Jenessee, how do people reach out to you?
Chakras, root to crown.
Chakras, root, R-O-O-T.
T-O.
T-O-O.
Nope, T-O.
1-0.
Crown.
Yeah, okay. T-O-C-R-O-W-N. Chakras.
You. Yeah. Chakras, root to crown.
Root to crown.
12th dimension.
12th dimension or wolf energy.
You know that's an analogy I use too. Is I feel like I have a crown.
Ooh.
When high stress or bad things happen in life, I used to say I feel like I've lost my crown. So I've used that analogy many times.
Eric's going to be doing plant medicine in 3 months.
I know, right? 3 weeks. What are you talking about?
Maybe.
We're going to Mexico in 3 weeks. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
September.
Let's do it. So again, Jennessee, thank you. I think this is going to be the first of many that we do together.
Yes, thank you.
Let's do it.
And I'm sure our clients, I'm sure this audience will reach out to you. So again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. You guys are doing amazing work.
Thank
Amazing
you.
work. And I need to sign up for your food service.
Absolutely.
You got it. That's easy.
Well,
Okay.
thanks.
All right, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Light and love.